So it all comes down really to self-knowledge, really getting self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is about understanding oneself, how one thinks, feels, and moves in life. It entails self-study and self-observation. As Krishnamurti said, and this is a quote from over like 40, 50 years ago, but it's still very relevant today. To bring about peace in the world, to stop all wars, there must be a revolution in the individual, in you and me. Economic revolution without this inward revolution is meaningless, for hunger is the result of the maladjustment of economic conditions produced by our psychological states: greed, envy, ill will, and possessiveness. To put an end to this sorrow, to hunger, to war, there must be a psychological revolution, and few of us are willing to face that. We will discuss peace, plan legislation, create new leagues, the United Nations, and so on, but we will not win peace because we will not give up our position, our authority, our money, our properties, our lives. To rely on others is utterly futile. Others cannot bring us peace. No leader is going to give us peace, no government, no army, no country. What will bring peace is inward transformation, which will lead to outward action. Inward transformation is not isolation. It's not withdrawal from outward action. On the contrary, there can be right action only when there is right thinking, and there is no right thinking when there is no self-knowledge. Without knowing yourself, there is no peace. Again, like going back to the whole idea of self-work as it's portrayed in the ancient teachings or certain New Age teachings, which also, it's a very distorted form of self-work, where people just tell you, help you to help yourself, give you techniques how to, attract money, a fulfilling relationship, the perfect job, a lover, and so on and so forth, but don't really go deep into it and really strive to the core of it. And as Lou Paz writes, brilliantly in his book, Fundamentals of Authentic Self-Knowledge, most New Age therapeutic methods are failing to deal with the true complexities of the soul. We can see this lack of substantial psychological awareness in many New Age writers and lecturers. Many become popular because they speak and write with the reductionist style that brings the complex and disturbing down into a canned formula of what spiritual growth is supposedly all about. Dozens of New Age authors could bring their works together in one large volume entitled How to Become Aware of the Depths of Your Being Without Disturbing the Routine of Your Comfortable Lifestyle. And that's really what it comes down to, because true esoteric and spiritual work is not a walk in the park. It can be, you're going to confront a lot of things within yourself in the world you rather don't want to see it, but, like Neo in the Matrix, the only way out is through, So there are different tools and methods for healing and gaining self-knowledge, and I have some suggested which have working with and have worked with, but essentially it comes to find out what works for you, There's astrology, which I find is an amazing tool, and I'm not talking about astrology in the sense of what's, sun sign astrology in the magazines, but really getting a birth chart, really a natal chart from a professional astrologer. There's a system called human design, which works in a similar manner. Divination, like tarot, I Ching. Look into esoteric spiritual literature, again, being discerning of, what is truly, the true thing here. And that is a process for everybody else. Everybody's has different lessons, different level of understanding. So what might work for one may not work for another. Meditation and breath work, which is, I think, very important. Massage and body work to get into the body, to heal body and mind separation, to get in, a lot of emotions and things that are stored in the body, which need to be released. Movement therapies like yoga, qigong, and tai chi. Shamanic journeys, which have their place, working with ayahuasca, peyote, and so on, which I had amazing experiences, but it's a two-edged sword, I think. People to give it too much importance sometimes, and there can be also some dangers involved in it, so it's, again, something that's only recommended if some people are really drawn to that. Art and music is not only for entertainment, but can be amazing. I see art and music anyway as a healing art, to really express yourself and really go, understand yourself and express something you cannot do through, anything in any other means. Adjusting your food and diet, and obviously spend more time in nature. Go out into nature, away from the city noise, frequency, and because I live in Topanga now, the past 5-6 years, and for me everything shifted. And I come back in the city, I can feel the frequency. Everything is just jammed, and it's really dense, and a lot of people living together here in a very small space. So spend time in nature as well. So the whole process of understanding yourself and gaining self-knowledge implies shadow work. This is a painting again from Alex Gray. Like I said, it's not a walk in the park, because what you're doing is destructing the personality, the ego, to really annihilate and kill that which is false and wrong. But the end result is, like the picture on the right side, you're connected with your true self, your true being, which is your spiritual self. But again, as Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to stop from facing their souls. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, by making the darkness conscious. So, now, I emphasize on the whole idea of gaining self-knowledge and understanding yourself, because I really think, and what I've come across in my own work with myself and my research over the 15 years, and working through my own illusions and buffers, and I'm still in the process like everybody else. But it is really important, before we really try to understand what's going on in the world, we really need to understand ourselves before we really look down into the rabbit hole. Because it's about seeking truth within and without. I see a lot of people in the conspiracy world, they go out and, just see, this is this, they get into all kinds of stuff, but, the New World Order is coming down on us, and yada yada. But they don't really do work on themselves, and then they fight something which they initially become themselves. And Gurdjieff called it the trap of the revolutionary mind. And the vice versa you have in certain New Age circles, where people just are closed off to themselves in their own little world, and they don't care about anything else what's going out in the world. And that's not the right way to do either. It's about seeking truth within and without, to come to more objective awareness on all levels. And again, if you ask for truth, it's as Laura writes, you got to be careful when you ask for the truth. It's usually what you don't want to hear or face. Asking a burning question can open to a door to a real whirlwind, and that's where sincerity comes in as well. That's I'm also here not really. My whole intent is not really to tell you guys what's happening in the world, because what I realize more and more, it's everybody has to do it on their own, and you have to show the sincerity to really go there and ask and not get it spoon-fed, and really do your own work and show the universe that you're really interested, and really have the burning desire to understand yourself more. And then the right teaching, the right information will come across. Because when you unplug, and that's again a picture from the Matrix, when Neo unplugs, and finally literally unplugs himself, and sees reality for the first time with his clean eyes, it can be many ways, it's not a pretty picture. There's a lot of things happening in this world and of the world which, as it comes down to, the truth is literally stranger than fiction. There's so much things happening, and I see it as humanity, we haven't even graduated kindergarten yet. There's so much we have to come to terms with in the next, especially in the next years, and time is literally speeding up. And I dropped some words here. I'm sure you have heard of it more, some way or the other. 2012, Illuminati, to aliens, to crop circles, abductions, DNA activation, enlightenment, the end of the world, a new beginning, Federation of Light, and so on. There's a lot of things out there. But what is truth, what is false, and who says? And again, in order to understand these topics, we need to understand ourselves first. Our reading instrument is yourself. So you can really, if you can understand yourself and understand how you take in information, then you can perceive truth and really deal with these topics in a mature manner. And not just believe something because it sounds good or it feels good, or, which is not necessarily the truth. And, it's all about being objective. And also the idea of something resonates with you. People, sometimes say that something must be the truth because it resonates with them. Well, true, there's truth to it, but where's this resonating coming from? Is it question? Is it really is it maybe our conditioned mindset and patterns of wishful thinking and beliefs we have? Like a lot of fundamental Christians resonate with the Bible, even in the literal sense, right? So they think it's truth, and they think the world is 3,000 years old, and that's it. So But, is it resonating maybe also something that is deeper than that and strikes through our conditioning, and even if it is something we don't like to see, is against our current belief system, but maybe the truth objectively as it is? Is your reading, in other words, is your reading instrument really tuned correctly to perceive truth? That's what it comes down to. So in many ways, we need critical thinking. A lot of New Age, they talk about heart-centered and opening teachings and opening the heart and here and that, and, which is true. We need to open our heart and activate the emotional center, but not letting go of the intellect either. We still need critical thinking and use both, balance the intellect and the emotional center to really understand what's going on in the world. So here, for example, I don't know, anybody has been kind of aware of what that is or what happened there a couple of days ago, July 9th? You seen this? That's a UFO, an unidentified flying object at the airport in Hangzhou in China on July 9th. And they closed down the whole airport because of the sighting. It was shut down. It's an international big airport. And where's it on the news? Where do you hear about it? I mean, there was more news about, what's this guy, LeBron James, switching to, should I accept, $25 million or $24 million? I'm not sure. It's like, and everybody giving it so much importance too. The governor of, where is he from? Ohio or something, was singing a song for him to stay in Ohio. I'm like, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. It's sad, While this is happening, This is not a fake. They shut down the airport because of this. Here are other pictures of this UFO. Last week. And again, I'm not, the UFO topic is, again, this can be a whole lecture on its own, but this is a reality which is, UFOs do exist. I mean, this is not a belief. There are facts out there. There are many amazing researchers out there who have done amazing research and laid it out with government, documents, and this shit is happening. And there are more sightings, more UFOs seeing, and there will be, if we don't make an effort to try and understand what's happening, we'll be left for a very, very big surprise here, Here's an old painting from 1710, which kind of shows almost a similar image, So when you get into this more what I call fringe topics and what's happening, outside the official culture, as I call it, we need to be aware of disinformation. And there's a term called COINTELPRO, which stands for Counterintelligence Program. And what the basic is that counterintelligence program, which has been initiated by the CIA and FBI in the 50s and 60s, and they're literally agents disguising themselves as truth seekers, gurus, and protesters in order to infiltrate, disinform, and provoke. And the latest was at the G20 meeting in Canada, where you saw all these images from so-called anarchists burning up police cars and doing damage. Well, a lot of them were literally agents to give the image of a violent protest. This has been orchestrated by the police themselves. And but COINTELPRO is not only active in the political sense, but also in the New Age movement and progressive scene, appearing as enlightened agents, as I said, promoting pseudo-spirituality and spreading disinfo about various topics, UFOs, 2012, the shift, and so on. And again, disinfo doesn't mean that it's all lies. It can be like a good chunk of truth, but mixed with some lies, which steer the people away from what is really going on. And the trouble with it is that anyone who's not discerning can be vectored to become themselves an unconscious disinformation agent and spread disinformation. And we see it a lot in very public and egocentric truth seekers. They can serve as so-called useful idiots that the powers that be take advantage of and feed them information which is blatantly false in the end of the day. So even the nicest people with the right intentions can fall into the trap. And I know in my own path and gaining information that I've come across things when I wasn't really, again, aware of my own self, didn't know myself, didn't know my own machine, how I operate, how I take information, and I was spreading disinformation because, that sounds great and this is awesome, but I see a lot of people posting on Facebook all kinds of stuff and shit, and they think it's true, but it's not, just there's a lot of stuff out there which we need to examine really carefully.